ambulance service. Is the patient breathing?
We don't know. 3 cars involved in a crash and a minibus.
3 cars and a minibus involved?
Yes. One of them majorly smashed up.
How fast were the vehicles going when this happened?
60. There's about a dozen people here.
There's at least 3 that are seriously injured.
Is anyone trapped?
The bus driver's stuck in the bus, he can't get out. And there's someone trapped in a car.
Our normal working dynamic is to look after one patient. That's our mental framework.
You've got 3 ambulance crews already in the field.
Perfect. Dealing with multiple casualty incidents is the hardest challenge we face in this service.
Oh. Ooh, holy smokes.
Scotland is huge. Swathes of it are remote and far from immediate help.
Is patient accessible?
He's in the middle of nowhere.
People want to go to the extreme.
We're coming as fast as we can, okay?
And that's when they get into trouble.
Emergency call for HeliMed 5 and trauma team.
I think she'll be a really difficult extrication from the rocks.
For many serious trauma patients, they may not survive if they have to wait to get to hospital to get the treatment that they need. That's why we have to bring the emergency department to the patient.
Responding to the most serious emergencies.
We are on scene attempting a land-on, over.
Scotland's National Trauma Network dispatch elite clinicians to those in need.
Trauma team on scene.
Whether it be halfway up a mountain, at the bottom of cliffs, in overturned cars.
Maybe 17 minutes.
It's the difference between life and death.
Right, I was in.
Saving lives.
I cannot feel a radial pulse.
No matter where.
We've just got eyes on them.
She was in the back.
And what injuries have got? Definite.
It's lower leg.
Yeah.
Is he in the van as well?
Is he still in the van?
By the west bank of Loch Lomond, the HeliMed trauma team are assessing multiple casualties after a car crashed into a minibus at high speed.
So we're just going to split up and then come back together and then make a plan from there?
Have you got any pain in your chest? What about when you take a big deep breath?
We'll go down there, and then if once she's extricated, if we need to do some interventions then, we can make an assessment. So we've got head and lower leg, but otherwise ABC's okay at the moment.
ABC's all right.
We'll get you to the hospital, and we'll get you sorted. I think the driver of the bus is more injured.
Just the guys, I want to know if we can lift these foot. Right, guys, watch your back a little bit. How you getting there?
Hello. What's your name?
When a patient's trapped in a vehicle after a high-speed crash, we can't get a proper assessment to really gauge what injuries they might have sustained. So you really need to get them out of those vehicles as quickly as we can.
The minibus driver, David, can't release his right leg. He's been given a Penthrox inhaler to relieve the pain.
Are you going out that way?
Yeah.
You got a board in there? Yeah.
Just sitting on the board.
Out, we should just bite the bullet and go for it. Big sick on that.
When a patient is extricated from a vehicle and there's been an element of compression, it may be preventing bleeding. And when that compression is released, patients can deteriorate rapidly.
Right leg.
Right.
Oh!
We're going to get that sorted. Right, some painkiller coming in here, Chief.
Trying to get a better understanding of what the casualty count is at the moment.
Currently, in terms of casualty distribution, we've got 2 P2s, one with head injury and one with leg injury. We've got a further P2 with a leg injury, and the 2 drivers are still being assessed.
By the banks of Loch Lomond, the HeliMed trauma team are treating multiple patients after a car crashed into a minibus at high speed. The driver of the minibus, David, has been extricated from the vehicle.
Oh, my fucking right leg!
Right.
Oh!
Right, some painkiller coming in here, Chief.
Kind of fluctuating swelling, upper right thigh.
The bone in your thigh, it's the longest bone in the body, and if that's broken, there can be quite a lot of bleeding that's not obvious. It doesn't spill out onto the floor or into the vehicle, so patients can lose a lot of blood.
It's 10-11 for TXA and morphine.
To minimise any internal bleeding and relieve the pain in David's thigh, the team need to apply a splint.
Before you put that top strap on, I'll just fire a block in here.
One of the treatments we have would be to do a nerve block. That's where we use an ultrasound, so a little probe that we carry to find the femoral nerve, which is the nerve that supplies that bone. And we can apply a local anaesthetic around that nerve, which allows us to get the bone in a good position for splinting, which will help with blood loss and pain relief.
There's the nerve there. Right, wee jab here, bud.
And then we need to get the patients to definitive care as quickly as we can.
Here's a bit more painkiller coming, Davey.
David had just got a new job as a tour guide, a minibus tour guide, and this was his second day on the job. It was something that he was so looking forward to. When he got up, said goodbye to me in the morning, I gave him a wee kiss, and he went to work. And he was only out the house about an hour and a half when I got the phone call.
We have the driver of the minibus now extricated. He's got femoral and tibial injuries.
My brother-in-law explained to me that David was in a road accident and he was in a bit of a bad way.
We're going to load you in here and then we'll get you down to Glasgow, OK?
I felt a bit lost. I was very scared. Just shocking.
Are all the passengers okay?
Yeah, they're all OK. He did a good job.
He was a good driver. Everything was going so well, and all of a sudden, within a split second, your life's turned upside down.
We're just loading the last patient into HeliMed just now, so ET at QE probably about 11 o'clock. Over.
Just hoping that everything was going to be all right and he was still going to be with us.
11 o'clock at the QE, we'll get the helipad activated for you.
I couldn't imagine life without David. Couldn't imagine it at all.
A 53-year-old female who has fallen off the ski lift. She has banged her head. 40-year-old male that has come off a quad bike. It's about 50 mile an hour. The patient can feel something sticking out of his chest.
Ambulance service, is the patient breathing?
Yeah, there's a severe loss of blood. I can see his bones.
So tell me exactly what's happened.
What did you cut it on? You saw. It's on his left forearm. Extensively cut right the way round.
How old is he?
How old are you? 72. 72.
In control, trained specialists monitor the most serious of cases.
Trauma team are attending a 72-year-old male. It's a serious cut to his arm with a mechanical saw. Lots of blood, and they can see the bone through the wound. I think controlling the bleeding is going to be really difficult. It looks like it could be quite serious.
The incident has happened at the man's home, where his next-door neighbour, a nurse, is helping.
Is there any serious bleeding? Yeah, there's serious bleeding. Okay, so I'm going to tell you how to stop the bleeding. Get a clean, dry cloth or towel, place it right on the wound and press down firmly. Don't lift it up to look. Tell me if the bleeding is now under control. No. He's feeling very, very nauseous. I understand. He needs an ambulance. Helping being arranged.
The man's brother rushed to his house minutes after the accident.
William was cutting wood with a circular saw. The blade caught him in the arm. Listen, one of the worst cuts I've ever saw in my life. I'm telling you, turned my stomach a wee bit. Turned my stomach. Blood every place. Oh, it was like a butcher's. And he was shouting, I'm going to lose my arm. And he kept saying to me, you're not going to cut my arm off, is he? I says, no, I don't know, cut your arm off. Got to reassure him, haven't you?
The patient, William, is being taken to the Queen Elizabeth Major Trauma Centre in Glasgow.
Tier 1 trauma call, 10 minutes.
A 75-year-old who's chainsawed the left arm. So I'll do team lead. When you hear someone's been injured by a mechanical saw, your first thought is that these wounds tend to be quite deep. The energy involved is such that every single structure will be damaged. If you're doing primary survey and he's got good access, do you want to see if you can get a big cannula in? Losing a huge amount of blood could ultimately, if this is untreated, they could slip into cardiac arrest. The most urgent task is to stop that bleeding and get control of that situation. So here we go.
The trauma team have controlled the bleeding on scene.
Okay, so this is William. He's 72-year-old. He's injured his left forearm with a circular saw. He's got quite a large, almost circumferential injury to the upper forearm with bone visible, suspected open fracture.
Right, some morphine for you here, okay?
Okay.
We know, don't you worry, we're going to get you all sorted.
What actually happened?
I went to cut a battle and a bloody grinder fell off the table, neck tight catched the grinder and it cut my arm open. Oh God, so that's bloody dreadful.
If you've got very significant injuries, there's absolutely no guarantee that we'll be able to fix those things to 100% where they were. And if the limb is so badly injured and the blood loss is so significant, then the patient might lose that limb.
Yeah, I'm frozen. Oh, head. He was in severe pain. Kind of brought a tear in my eye. He was in enormous pain. What was I? I always look after William. He's my brother. No matter what happens.
Helimed trauma team are en route.
62-year-old David is being airlifted to the Queen Elizabeth Major Trauma Centre after he was injured in a high-speed car crash.
Tier 1 trauma call to recess, 15 minutes.
There's been an RTA in Luss, 2 vehicles by minibus. So right femur, left tibia.
Doctors are concerned David, the driver of the minibus, may have serious internal bleeding.
Hand over, guys, let's listen up.
The 62-year-old chap, driver, two buffs, swerved to avoid an oncoming vehicle and has collided driver's side. Right femoral fracture, seems likely, possible pelvic injury and a possible open fracture of the left tibia.
Okay, let's transfer over, guys.
Everyone happy? Ready, set, slide.
Good man.
Well done. Get some monitoring on him, please. Blood pressure, the cardiac monitoring, please. Pelvic binder is on. Is it sore around here? Yeah. Okay. So definitely tender up here. Probably a degree of swelling.
Yep. If I'm examining a patient, I find that there's swelling in their abdomen or in their pelvis after a significant high-impact energy injury, then I have to be concerned that that's blood loss. If you've broken your pelvis, lots and lots of veins can be damaged in that, and that can lead to a huge amount of bleeding. It can be rapidly life-threatening, and it would be a pretty catastrophic injury to sustain.
So we look here. Pulses are not palpable.
Okay. When we say a pulse is not palpable, it means that we can't feel the normal heartbeat through the pulse. If you've got someone who's got a fracture to the femur or thigh bone and you can't feel the pulse there, you've got to be very significantly concerned that there's an injury to that femoral artery, and you suspect he's got significant internal bleeding.
He's just dropped his blood pressure.
If someone's blood pressure drops, our concern is the blood loss causing that? Are they losing so much blood they're no longer able to support their own blood pressure? And that would become a huge concern.
Caitlin, we're going to go transfer for CT. Okay, guys, good to go? Let's go.
Ambulance service, is the patient breathing?
Can we get the police, ambulance and fire brigade? Can I pile up? Just been a head-on, I think, on the corner.
The head-on collision, is that correct?
Oh, yes.
Is the patient breathing?
I couldn't tell you. The truck inside the car.
So a 3-car RTC and 2 had a head-on collision, is that correct?
Yes. A 3-in-1 car truck.
Okay.
The road will need to be closed, it's just a total write-off.
Are there any obvious injuries that you can see?
I can't honestly tell you.
So I'm organising help for you now. Stay on the line and I'll tell you exactly what to do next.
The incident has happened near Ballintrae, a small coastal village in South Ayrshire.
3-car RTC with people trapped. Multiple casualty incident. Emergency call for HeliMed 5, trauma team, general area of Ballintrae.
With a number of patients trapped inside their vehicles and injuries unknown, HeliMed 5 is immediately dispatched.
HeliMed 05, take off at discretion, take to southwest. We take off patients in southwest across 23, HeliMed 05.
The longer somebody's entrapped, the more likely it is of serious injury.
Still a good bit away.
HeliMed 5 is 25 minutes away from the incident. Fire, police and 6 ambulance crews have been dispatched, with the closest now on scene assessing the casualties.
86-year-old female, front seat passenger. She's complaining of severe difficulty in breathing. Appears to have a chest injury. Is she currently trapped? Over? Yes.
The second patient, also trapped, has lumbar pain. The third patient is a 32-year-old with neck pain. HeliMed 5 will be able to take one patient.
Can you task Coast Guard going this?
To help airlift more patients, the Coast Guard helicopter is also dispatched.
Airborne ETA 15, 15 minutes.
We were on a family holiday. We were going to the beach to
have a barbecue, mess about in the water and have a bit of fun. We had to take 2 different cars. I was in the car in front with my dad and my sister. I was sat in the back. I remember seeing the car go past us, and as I've followed it, I've then watched it go head-on into the car behind, which had my mum, my grandmother and my partner in it. Both of the cars were completely destroyed. There were just car parts strewn all over the road.
Primary concern is still the 86-year-old given her age and present complaint.
My grandmother had the worst injuries. She was in a lot of pain, quite severe chest pain, and I could tell that she was finding it very difficult to breathe, and she quite quickly started slipping into shock, being very cold, shaking. I was really, really worried.
It's all right? How are we doing?
2 in that car.
Yeah, the old one in the front, 86-year-old.
Yeah, okay.
Very difficult to assess, but quite easy to see.
We're going to treat this just as a multi-cause scenario as it is. We'll go around as a team and assess each of the patients. Right, so let's first of all go and see the guy, the driver. 24-year-old male. Okay, so right leg shortened and rotated, isn't it? So querying a proximal femoral neck fracture or pelvic fracture. Okay, so you're going to deal with that. Okay. Okay, so where does it hurt? And sorry, if you don't mind, right in the breastbone area. Is that any pain either side of your chest at all? No. Okay. Let's see patient 3. Okay, hello there, dear. What's your name?
Shirley.
Shirley. Hello, Shirley. My name's Doug. I'm one of the doctors for the critical care team.
Right.
Pleased to meet you.
Hello.
Are you feeling extremely sore at the moment anywhere, Shirley?
No, just uncomfortable
in your
ankle.
In your ankle.
I can just move it around and I can feel my toes.
Okay.
It just feels a bit solid.
Okay.
If a patient appears to be stable, we still need to maintain a high clinical suspicion of significant injury. They have the ability to deteriorate quickly, especially elderly patients.
How is your breathing, Shirley?
It's a lot better. I don't know what they've given
Okay.
me, but it's
just normal people.
Perfect.
Got quite a lot into there.
It's in your chest. I see. Can you?
Nothing like it was.
It's improved. That's excellent. I'm pleased to hear that. Can you take a deep breath in for me, please, Shirley? How does it feel to breathe deeply? Still sore.
Anyone who's been involved in blood trauma, who's complaining of difficulty in breathing or pains in their chest after a high-speed accident could be a sign of a punctured lung or blood within the chest cavity. Both conditions can lead to life-threatening complications.
You've got some open wounds here.
Lower leg looks quite mottled.
If I see a patient with mottled skin in the context of trauma, my immediate concerns are potentially a significant amount of blood loss that's caused that.
She's got chest pain, lower leg pain, considering that kind of how mottled she looks.
This is of great concern and is time critical.
The mechanism of what's happened has been quite significant. So often in these situations, the adrenaline, once it wears off, you'll start to feel something that you maybe didn't see before, okay? You'll need to get you out of the car nice and carefully.
She'll need to go to a trauma unit.
Definitely going up to Glasgow.
My grandmother was being taken hours away from where we were to somewhere she'd never been. It was really scary for her. I promised her that I would be there as soon as I could be, and that she wouldn't be alone.
I am worried about her age. Yeah, lower leg looks quite mottled, concerningly looking.
I made sure she knew that we all loved her. But I knew that whatever happens, nothing is going to be the same.
David, so there's a lot of people around you, okay? So your job is just to keep nice and still. We're going to transfer you onto our scanner, okay? And we're going to do this detailed scan.
62-year-old David is having an urgent CT scan after the minibus he was driving was involved in a high-speed car crash. Doctors are concerned his low blood pressure could be a sign of internal bleeding.
He kind of did dip. Oh, he's just dipped again.
David had been in business all his life, but he wasn't quite ready to retire. At 62, it's quite a thing to go and look for a new job because there's not a lot of jobs out there for the older person. They thought his kind of time was, you know, kind of up. He always loved driving, and this minibus tour guide came up, and he wasn't too sure, but it was the best thing he's ever done. He was so happy. Part of the job was learn a lot more about Scotland so that when he had all these tourists from all over the world, that he was able to tell them a bit about Scottish history. He found that a wee bit challenging to start with. So he went out and bought a book about Scottish history for dummies. He would read the books and then I would ask him questions. I had to try and reassure him that everything would be all right and he'll do a good job. After he did his first trip, came back, and when they were starting to let everybody off and they were all giving him a clap. So he was absolutely delighted about that.
Initial scan results have revealed no internal bleeding, but David needs to be assessed by orthopaedic specialists.
Hello there, my name's
Hi.
Eleanor Davidson. What you've done on the right-hand side, if you imagine you've got your hips sitting up here with your pelvis, and then the line of the femur coming down to your knee.
Right.
You've broken it in two places, and we're likely to treat that with a metal rod that goes down the centre of the bone, and a screw that goes into the head of that. On the other side, you've broken the knee itself, so the lower bone, which is the tibia, and it's in the joint, and it's kind of quite smashed. It's a specialist operation, and will be likely 2 plates to hold that bone in the right place.
Okay.
It may feel over time that you notice other things that are wrong or feeling a bit sore, and you just let us know.
Okay.
Your wife's on the phone, you want to quick?
Oh, yes. Hello. Stop it. I'm fine. Seatbelt did a wonderful job.
David always told me that he loved me and he would protect me and not want me to worry. He would play it down, which he did do.
I've got a couple of wee leg injuries, so they're going to get them sorted out, but other than that, typically good.
But he would be scared. He didn't know if it was going to end well or not for him.
Right, then don't worry. Okay.
I just wanted to be by his side, hold his hand and tell him I love him.
I'll speak to you later. Love you too. Cheers now. Bye, bye-bye.
David will be taken to theatre for emergency surgery on both his legs.
Moffat, 27-year-old female. She's been kicked by a horse in the chest and abdomen, having difficulty breathing.
Med rescue, a female who's had a fall 400 yards down an embankment at the shore.
Collarbone fracture, but no mention of any other injuries. Whereabouts on Connachthill level? As I'm aware, they're still 1,000 feet up.
Yeah, drink them.
72-year-old William is having his arm urgently assessed after he cut it with a mechanical saw chopping wood.
Can you feel we touching off?
No.
No.
Oh, dear God. He's always been handy. William's always been quite handy, like. He liked to be busy, doesn't like being idle.
Eat before and squeeze that.
Oh, God, we'd cut logs to make a wee bit of money on the side, to bolster out your pension. It was just a bad accident, really bad.
A lot of muscle damage.
That's radiographer here. William, we're just going to x-ray your arm just now, okay?
It was a bloodbath. We had to wash the flare in the kitchen 3 times to get the stains out. That's what family's for. Helping you out the good times and the bad times, and the ugly times.
William.
Oh.
This is Ross here to see you.
Yeah, you're right. No, I'm not. At least you're in the right place anyway. Once you start to get the medication working in, that pain will just fade away. Oh, sounds good to be done. It's murder. Aye, I can quite believe it.
That's quite an x-ray, isn't it?
Given the proximity of this on the artery, I'd be angio.
We'll get that done just now. CT angio, left lower arm, looking for ulnar artery damage. There's a fracture. What's here? This bone here. This bone is called the ulnar bone, and there's multiple fractures all the way along that. Along with that, there's damage to muscles, maybe nerves, and maybe some blood vessels as well. He's going to go for a scan of this blood vessel, make sure that's intact. So if we've got concerns that a patient has an injury to a significant artery, we have to do something called a CT angiogram.
Today we're going to give you an injection of contrast so they're uncomfortable, right?
Put a contrast dye through their veins. If you've got contrast dye that stops abruptly or you can see it leaking out, then you've got an injury to an artery. If the blood supply is not getting to the limb will be starved of oxygen, and ultimately the limb will then die. His ulnar artery is compromised, so the tape is out to nothing.
A major artery in William's arm is damaged.
Looking at the CT scan, I suspect there's a damage to one of the arteries towards the tail end of it. So it's going to need fixed in theatre. Might not be a completely straightforward operation.
Oh dear, oh dear.
"86-year-old Shirley is being airlifted to the Queen Elizabeth Major Trauma Centre after she was injured in a head-on road traffic collision.
Got about 7 minutes till the patients arrive. And the lady is in her 80s, and we think her predominantly is a pulmonary injury. We got the chest drain trolley out. Ollie is going to take handover. A bit of hush.
This is an 86-year-old lady called Shirley with traffic collision, and she's complaining of inability to breathe, right-sided severe chest pain, reduced air entry on the right-hand side. Her trend in her heart rate has increased, with a tachycardia, which is now sitting at 110.
When a patient is tachycardic, it means that their heart rate is beating much faster than normal. A tachycardia after blunt force trauma can be a sign of blood loss.
Ready, steady, roll. Ready, steady, move.
That might not be immediately apparent looking at the patient because the bleeding is often internal. It needs to be identified as a priority.
Scant air entry, right base. Scant air entry, left base. Bruising across the right breast, chest wall.
Ow.
Okay,
No,
right-sided chest wall tenderness.
Where is the pain the worst?
When I breathe.
Only when you breathe, right?
Possible hemothorax on the right. A hemothorax is bleeding into the chest cavity. It is bleeding into the space between the ribs and the lung itself. It can cause difficulty for the patient to breathe from the pressure of the blood itself. So we'll get CT done and then we know what we're dealing with. In worst case scenarios, the bleeding can be catastrophic, which can be life-threatening.
When we were really little, my grandmother used to look after us a couple times a week. And give us lots of sweets we weren't supposed to have. She definitely had quite a lot of fun with me and my sister. For her 70th birthday, she went sledding with us and she ended up going snowboarding down this hill. She always believed that if you don't use it, you lose it.
We're going to be just in the room next door. We can see you, so you're not going to be alone.
My grandparents would always talk about how they would go dancing at the dance hall when they were younger. My granddad could sing really well, and he'd sing and they'd dance together. They were together for over 65 years, and I know that they were both overjoyed when they got their letter from the Queen congratulating them on their 65th wedding anniversary. Unfortunately, a few years after that, my grandfather became really ill. I can't imagine how it feels to say goodbye to someone that you spent every day of your life with. She made the decision she didn't want to live on her own anymore, and she moved in with my parents. We started having conversations about all of us living together, all 7 of us. My grandmother, my parents, me and my partner, my sister and her partner. And we were in the process of slowly moving up to Scotland. We were building our own house.
Well done, Shirley.
One of the things that my grandmother always used to say was that us young'uns keep her young. That's why she needed to keep us close.
Can you take a big deep breath in for me? Is that as deep as you can breathe?
Yeah.
We've got a sick bolt. Can you get us some cycles in? We're just going to have a wee look at this scan and get some answers, hopefully. Okay.
Male statement's been in a car crash, drifting in and out of consciousness.
It's for a 24-year-old male that's fell off a motorbike with a possible broken shoulder and collarbone injury. Asking Helimed 79. 50-year-old male that has fell onto rocks and split his head open.
Our ETA is about 45 minutes, so we'll be there around 16:10.
In Glasgow, 86-year-old Shirley is awaiting the results of CT scans after she was injured in a high-speed car crash. Doctors are concerned she may have internal bleeding in her chest.
Shirley,
Yeah.
are you warm enough?
I'm just seeing it dry.
A bit. Okay, we can get you a wee bit of fluids. You were in the car with your daughter-in-law, did you say?
Yes.
Some of Shirley's family were also injured in the incident and taken to another hospital.
Hello, I'm just phoning from Resus and Queen Elizabeth to check if you had 2 of the patients from the RTC that happened earlier on today.
Family is important to us. We all want to be together, and with everything over the last few years, with COVID, with everything that happened with my grandfather, it's been, we've only come closer as a family.
The 2 that you've got are both, one's a daughter-in-law and one's a family friend. The 3 of them were all in the same car.
I didn't get any updates between when she left the scene and when I got to Glasgow.
Just like here, it's just like a thickening line. Is that a sliver fluid maybe?
I just remember walking in the front doors of the hospital. I didn't know what I was going to be walking into. I didn't know what decisions I was going to have to make. I didn't know how she was going to be.
Oh no, that's ruptured. That's gone. That's gone. It's leaking. That's definitely.
Yeah, that's gone straight through into the pelvis.
Yeah.
I just remember stopping for a moment outside of the doors to resus, just taking a moment and just get ready for whatever was going to come next.
I'm so sorry, Grandma.
Where are you, Heather?
I'm just here.
Oh.
Okay, keep the blanket on you, I don't want you to get cold.
Mum's hurt as well.
Mum's all right. So Jenny might have broken leg and some ribs. She's having some scans at the moment.
Oh my God, Heather, I'm so sorry. You should be with her. Really. Oh my God, Heather, I do appreciate it so much. And you're also very precious to me.
I know.
I can't tell you how much.
So we've got a ruptured cyst here and a ruptured and an intact renal cyst on that side.
Shirley's initial scan results show no internal bleeding in her chest, but they have revealed other concerns.
You had a cyst in your kidney. Unfortunately, that's burst because of the force of the accident.
Oh,
okay.
Could they burst?
They can.
So what does that mean?
So we'll speak to the urologists, the waterworks doctors that deal with these things and see what they advise at the end of the day. The lung's got a bit of what we call collapse or atelectasis due to the force of the accident. There's also some evidence of some fractures in the thoracic spine, the mid part of your back. Okay, they could be new or they could be old.
Yeah.
Okay, they don't look overtly serious, but we just need to make sure that they're not new. Okay?
I didn't think I would have been injured as badly as it turned out I was. Had to try and learn to walk again. Some nights you'll wake up and you flash back to sitting in the cab. I think it's going to be with me for a while. Rosemary means the world to me. She's fantastic. She's just been there for me all the time and been very supportive. Sometimes I think, well, how the heck did 15 of us on board survive something like that? But we are very fortunate. You take it for granted, like I had to relearn to tie my shoelaces, right, with one hand, which I must admit, it was a big puzzle until I saw it done on YouTube. Right, see, like, I've got a lot of swelling. The whiter skin is the piece they took out my leg. I've got to go to physiotherapy, trying to exercise my fingers for a normal standard of life. But I do feel positive about it. Tomorrow's another day, ain't it?
Rehabilitation is absolutely essential for anybody that's had a major injury. For more elderly patients, it's really important to get up and moving, but that can take time.
Strong through these legs, fantastic.
The medical staff were absolutely wonderful. To think that they tried everything possible to fix me up at my age. Without the family coming to see me, I would have been lost. Makes you feel much loved, and you love them as much. It makes it all worthwhile getting better and trying to spend as much time as possible together. And it's never enough time. There's never enough time.